Hello, I'm Sarah. You can call me Pixie. Today we're talking about the books I'm currently reading and the ones I hope to get to in August. I'm not necessarily calling this a TBR because who knows what's going to happen, but I guess we'll say it's a tentative TBR. We'll see what all we can get to because I also have a lot of books that I've already started and I'm in the middle of, including one that I've been reading for like 2 months, 3 months almost. So why don't we just get right into this, starting with the one that I've been reading for like 2 or 3 months now, Ivory Vikings by Nancy Marie Brown. This is a nonfiction book talking about the history of chess. I've learned some pretty interesting facts so far, such as, did you know that the queen in chess could not always move as many spaces as she wanted in any direction? No! She used to be limited to one space only. Apparently when they played it, they tended to leave her very next to the king, but... So I'm enjoying my chess facts, but I'm only a little over halfway through. The next one is an audiobook I've just recently started. Maybe I should talk about the first one, but I'm just kind of going down my list of books that I'm reading. I have started Age of Myth by Michael J. Sullivan. I can't tell you much about this because I literally am like maybe an hour into this audiobook. I'm really not that far. So yeah, working on that one. The other audiobook I am currently listening to that I am 46% into, not quite halfway, is The Red Sea by Edward W. Robertson. I'm enjoying this, but at the same time, I felt like I needed a break from the craziness that has been this story, and so that's what kind of made me jump into... I just randomly picked Age of Myth. I don't know that Age of Myth was the right one to give me a break from the craziness that is the Red Sea, but yeah, we've started the second audiobook. The Red Sea I keep starting more and more series. Looking at this, Age of Myth and The Red Sea are both a book one in a series. And just wait, because there's more on this list as I look down at some of the other books I've got. So much for finishing series this year. We're starting them all. We're continuing our bad habits. Anyways, The Red Sea follows Dante, who, if I understand correctly, is apparently a king in this like remote area. He can do some kind of necromancy magic, which is kind of shunned in most places. He gets this strange message that his father is dying and he needs to go and fix it. He needs to go make his dad better. His dad is like, I forget, I think it was like a 2-week journey away by boat in this island that was called, I think it's the Island of the Plagued, the Isle of the Plagued, something with the Plagued. So nobody wants to actually enter this island. There's like this sandbar that they kind of meet on and do some trading. That is where he and a friend, helper, assistant get off, and he goes and finds his dad. Which is where the craziness begins. Or I should say, expands. There was some craziness on our journey, but yeah, and that the craziness is just continuing, and it's a lot of adventure. I'm trying to not spoil things, but also there's not a whole lot to say at the moment. I'm not halfway through yet. I have also started again an e-arc that I was given a few years ago. I started it, put it down. It's an uncorrected proof, and I don't remember. I think I may have started it on my phone, tried it on my tablet. It was kind of driving me nuts. But because it's like an uncorrected proof, it wasn't correctly formatted. It made it kind of hard to read. So I struggled. And I didn't really make it that far in, except maybe 1 or 2 chapters, and there wasn't a whole lot of information there that I hadn't gotten from other sources, and so why was I even reading it? So I DNF'd it at the time. I have since decided to give it a second chance, so I've started it again. I'm literally only 4% in. We're not that far again. The last book and the start of yet another series, Ashes of the Sun, by an author who I'm going to apologize. I am probably going to mispronounce this name. Django Wexler, I think? Django? Maybe. Anyways, I'm only 2% in. Can't really give you a whole lot of what it's about. It's been on my TBR for a while. I've owned this book for a year or two. I feel like I got it very close to when it came out. Looks like in 2020. And I haven't read it yet, so I've completely forgotten what the book is supposed to be about. But the cover kind of caught my attention when I was going through the library trying to figure out what I wanted to read, what I was in the mood for, and I started it. Literally just... I'm only 2% in, so that's all I can say. It's started, not that far in. Now, in terms of books that I'm hoping to get to in August, I would like to continue with Fruits Basket. I'm not 100% where I am. I may have already read this one. I may be on 6. I don't remember. It's been a while since I read the whatever one I read last. So I would like to, I'll probably start number 5 because I think that's where I am. And if it's ringing too many bells that I've read it, I will put this one down and pick up 6. But continuing on with the Fruits Basket series, I've watched what I believe you would call like season 1 of the anime. My sister was a fan, and so I kind of watched it with her. I've since watched it again on my own through streaming services, and I've started collecting the books. So I'd like to continue this. Fruits Basket follows a young girl. I had her name in my head and I've just lost it. Toru. Follows a young girl, Toru, who ends up living with some members of the Soma family while her house that she's staying at with her grandfather is under some construction. Except there's this thing with the Soma family. They've kind of been cursed, and key members of the family, when touched by somebody of the opposite sex, will change into one of the animals of the zodiac. So there's 13 of them, I believe, because there's also... Now I forget how the story goes. I think it's the cat that is left out in that story. But there's also a cat, which is not part of the official zodiac, due to some trickery, according to the zodiac story. But so Toru slowly starts meeting members of the family, and it's kind of hilarious. Another book I would like to get to in audio format is actually a continuation of a series. Yay! I recently listened to an audio arc, actually. It was my first audio arc. The Revelation of Light and Dark, I think was the title of the first book. So I would like to pick up the second book which was recently just released on audio. You can get the entirety of the series in, I think it's available in ebook, paperback, and hardback. But now the audiobooks are being developed, recorded, and now slowly released, more or less one every week for a while. I think there's like 7 or 8 books in the series. There's also a prequel that I also haven't read yet. I started it with the book 1 that was the audio arc. So I would like to get to A Discovery of Secrets and Fate by Sawyer Bennett. And if you're interested in a review of the first book, I will leave a link in the description. I have it on my blog. The first book, Revelation of Light and Dark. Why does that? Revelation of Light and Dark follows a young woman who is adventuring out on her own. She is offered the ownership of a coffee shop, but she can't afford to buy it. So she's going through financing because the owner would really like to leave it to her, and ends up meeting this really strange guy that ultimately leads to her finding out, oh, she's not crazy. All her life she's actually been able to see Fae and Damon, and adventure ensues. But also there's this small spark between her and the lead male, and I'm interested to see where that spark goes. I can never remember their names, so I always have to look it up but anyways. Another audiobook I have found on Scribd I would like to listen to next month. Murder Your Employer, The McMaster's Guide to Homicide by Rupert Holmes. I honestly didn't look at the description to see what it was really about. The title got to me. I'm curious to see what the heck this is going to do. Are we gonna learn how to murder people and get away with it? And we're down to the final 2, which are our book 1s for series. I'm not finishing series this year, am I? I'm starting them all. Bad Habits Die Hard. Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett. I've actually been wanting to get to this one for a while. At this point, I don't remember what it's about. It came out 5 years ago, I think. 2018 is what I'm showing here as the first time it was published for book 1. I did start reading this for a readathon, I want to say last year. I got through the first chapter and then for some reason put it down. Probably life got in the way. And I forgot what I read, but I remember enjoying what I started, and so I would kind of like to get back to it. I just, for some reason, haven't picked it back up yet. So it's on my list to try and get to in August. Another one is another arc that I got ages ago. I was so interested in it though, I've actually gone out and purchased the finished copy of the book, so I have the finished copy that I can now read instead of the unfinished proof. And that is Casto by Xenia Meltzer. I think I'm saying that right. I will put the cover up here. It's the, every time I scroll through my library and see this cover, I'm like, I should read that next. Nope, never do. So hopefully August will be the month that I get through this book. So those are all of the books that I am currently reading and what I would like to get to next. Not even necessarily in the month of August, but right now these are some of the books that I was thinking about that are on my mind as, hey, this would be a good book to pick up, but hey, look at all the books that you already have in progress. Finish some of these before you start something else. But yeah, and putting this together, I've realized I need to try and focus on finishing series a bit better, because there was only 2 continuations for Fruits Basket and the next book after the Revelation of Light and Dark. Yeah. I'm not doing well. So that's what I'm reading. What are you looking forward to reading next? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you next week with a new video. TTFN!